Pretend Pastry Kitchen. I'm Emma, and today I'll be showing you how to make these brandy snaps. This was actually a viewer requested video, and thank you for commenting that because these were really fun to make. These are crispy, almost butterscotch-like, toffee-like cookies rolled up and filled with a fluffy whipped cream. Let me show you how to make it. Before we start making the cookies, we want to prep a couple things so that when we get to the faster moving parts, these are all ready for us and it makes it way easier. So we're going to line 2 baking sheets with baking mats. These are silicone baking mats, or you can just use parchment paper. That works just as well. And then I have 2 wooden spoons, and we want them to be about 3/4 inch in diameter. Mine were not thick enough, so I just wrapped them in aluminum foil to make them a little bit thicker. And we're going to use these as the molds and roll the brandy snaps around them. To start the cookies, in a small saucepan, combine 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 5 tablespoons of granulated sugar, a 1/4 cup of light corn syrup or golden syrup, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then we're going to take our saucepan over to the stovetop, put it over medium-low heat for about 10 minutes so that the butter melts and the sugar dissolves and the mixture becomes homogeneous, but it never gets hot enough to simmer. While you're over at the stovetop, preheat your oven to 350 degrees and then take our butter and sugar mixture off of the heat and allow it to cool for 2 minutes. Then we're going to sift our dry ingredients directly into here. So we'll sift in 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour and 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger into the saucepan. And then mix until it's well combined. Then we're going to spoon about 1 heaping teaspoon per cookie onto the lined baking sheets and bake 1 sheet at a time in the middle rack of the oven, and then we'll take them out and roll them up. So as soon as you've let this cool for about 2 minutes after taking it off the stovetop, then we're ready to sift in our dry ingredients. When ready to be portioned onto the baking sheets, your mixture should be tough but smooth like a fluid paste. Just spoon a heaping teaspoon about 4 inches apart from each other, so about 2 to 3 per baking sheet, and then we'll place them in the oven at 350 degrees for 6 minutes. Then rotate the sheet 180 degrees, bake for another 2 to 3 minutes until they're a golden toffee color, not too pale because then they won't crisp up. They should be deep golden in color when they're ready to be taken out of the oven and rolled up around our wooden spoons. Once you've placed a teaspoon of batter down onto the sheet, just use the back of the spoon to smooth it into about 2-inch discs. This will give us the right shape to roll up around our wooden spoon molds later. I'm going to throw this sheet into the oven for 6 minutes, rotate it, bake it for another 2 to 3 minutes until it's a golden caramel toffee color, and then I'll pull it out and we'll roll them around the wooden spoons. Then I'm going to spoon the cookies onto the next sheet. Just be careful handling this dough because it's still very hot. You can alternate the cookie sheets, so while one sheet is in the oven, I'm already spooning the next. That way, once I pull that one out and start working on it, these will start on their first 6 minutes in the oven. These should be the color of your cookies when they're done in the oven. We're going to allow them to cool for 2 minutes and then use a spatula to place them on a cutting board so that we can roll them up. Now I'm going to place our second cookie sheet in the oven. While I'm waiting for these to cool down and harden up a little bit, I put the other cookie sheet in the oven, and this has now, our cookie dough from earlier has started to harden up a little bit, so I just put it on low back on the stovetop, or if you have a warm setting, just the lowest it can go, and keep it slightly warm so that it doesn't harden all the way. That works perfectly fine while you're waiting. So now we're going to take a spatula and remove our brandy snaps off of the baking sheet. They should be pliable, but able to hold their own shape long enough to transfer them. We're going to place them rough side down on the cutting board, and then use the spatula and the wooden spoon mold to roll them up gently. Now use the other wooden spoon and do the same before this one cools too much. Once again, rough side down on the cutting board, and use the spatula to roll this around the wooden spoon handle. Place them seam side down until they cool completely so that they don't come undone. Once they're completely cooled, you can remove them and place them aside until we make the filling for them. Don't worry at all if your first couple come out like this. These are called snacks. Yum! Once I've rolled all my cookies, I'm going to set them aside to cool for at least 15 minutes, and in the meantime, I'm going to make the whipped cream filling for the inside. So to make that, we're just going to combine in a medium mixing bowl 1.5 cups of cold heavy cream, 6 tablespoons of powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then using either an electric hand mixer or a stand mixer with the whisk attachment, we're going to whip that mixture on high for 2 to 3 minutes until it's nice and fluffy. As soon as we're done with that, we can transfer it right to a piping bag and fill the brandy snaps. Your mixture should look like this when it's done. Make sure to just whip until it's fluffy and like a whipped cream consistency, because if you over whip it, you can accidentally make butter, and you don't want that. Now this is ready to be transferred to a piping bag and used to fill the brandy snap cookies. I'm going to use a gallon-size freezer strength Ziploc bag as a piping bag because those are nice and sturdy and it should hold the entirety of this whipped cream mixture, although I suggest not filling it all the way with all of the whipped cream at once because it's easier to handle small batches at a time. Then we're just gonna start on one end, place the end of the piping bag about halfway through, and fill while gently pulling out as you feel the pressure against the end of the piping bag, and then just finish off with a nice dollop in the end here, and repeat on the other side. Start in the middle, push out a little bit as the pressure is pushing back on your hand, and just finish it off with a nice dollop. Don't overfill it. And here are our finished beautiful brandy snaps. I hope you guys enjoyed these crunchy rolled cookies. I sure had fun making these. If you liked this video, leave a like below, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below what you want to bake together next. I can't wait to try out new recipes and bake with you again. Bye!